Minasan konnichiwa, konbanwa, ohayou gozaimasu. Hoy estamos acá para completar el examen de inglés que habíamos empezado durante la clase anterior. Todo con la intención, por supuesto, de poder ver y tener una idea cómo son los exámenes para la postulación a la beca MEXT, que sería la correspondiente a la segunda fase justamente. Habíamos empezado por acá con la prueba para Research Student o estudiantes que van a ir a hacer posgrado, ¿cierto? Ya sea a nivel de maestría o a nivel de doctorado. El examen de inglés que dura 60 minutos. Vamos a ver, son exactamente las 4 de la tarde acá. Tengo clases a las 5, así que tengo que terminar antes de eso. Nos quedaban realmente 30 minutos, pero entre que hablo y digo muchas cosas, allí se me va un poquito el tiempo también. Completamos la primera, la segunda, para que tengan idea, por si acaso no vieron la parte anterior, y la tercera parte, la más interesante y desafiante en mi opinión. Y hoy vamos a continuar, por supuesto, con la cuarta y quinta parte, y la quinta parte que se divide en dos. Así que esa pequeña introducción en español, pero ahora vamos a cambiar a inglés, sin que colapse el cerebro. じゃあね、みんな日本語も考えてるんですけど、じゃあ英語で。Choose the most suitable word or phrase from the list to fill each of the number blanks in the passage below. So our first challenge here is going to be that I'm going to need to go down to see the options as well as go into the next page in order to see the different options. So today I'm going to write my answers like in some paper, because if not, I might get like a little bit mistaken. So let's start from here, of course. So it's a reading comprehension, and we need to complete the blanks with one of the options that we consider is correct. So, and now we have French. À la recherche de temps perdu. So, blank, in search of lost time and remembrance of things past in English, is a novel in 7 parts by Marcel Proust, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. It was published in French from blah, blah, blah. The novel is the story of Proust, I really don't know, owns life. So, number 1, let's see, it's not here. So let's go down. Also known for calling as in translation, translated as, also known for translated as, isn't it? Translated as. So we can say, this name, translated as in search of lost time in English, is a novel in 7 parts by Marcel Proust. So let me, okay. Letter D. Letter D is the correct one for this first one. The novel is the story of a Proust, I really don't know, told as an allegorical blank truth. It is blank, one of the greatest works of fiction. Okay, so we need number 2 and 3. Meaning from, metaphor to, search for, story in, for the first one, regarded as, regarded being, regarded to be. Okay, we have some or a couple that are 100% not correct. So, told as an allegorical, it was number 2. Cannot be. Allegorical search for is whether an allegory or is whether a metaphor, cannot be the two. So allegorical search for blank, what was it? Allegorical search for truth. Allegorical search for truth. It is blank, one of the greatest works of fiction. It is regarded as, very typical English phrase. It is regarded as, B ですね. Yes, I was talking about this with my Japanese friends. Very funny to speaking Nihonglish. Yes, regarded as, very typical. Okay, so now we continue and go to number 4. In January 1909, Proust experienced the involuntary recall of a childhood memory when he tasked a Rusk, which in his novel became a Madeleine. What happened here? Oh. Okay. My earphones failed. What's happening here? I don't know if you can hear me. I hope you can. I don't know what happened. Okay. I'm gonna try to continue like this. Hopefully it's okay. And hopefully you can hear me. What happened? They just died. Okay. So I was saying Madeleine, a kind of small sponge cake. Madeleines, dipped in tea. In July, he blanked the world to write his novel. He blanked the world to write his novel, finishing the first draft in September 1912. Oh, okay, let's see the different options. In July, he blanked the world. In July, he disappeared away. He faded off the world. He retired from the world. He vanished outside the world. Yes, so not retired. Yes, retired from. He retired from the world to write his novel, finishing the first draft in September 1912. So 3 years. Okay, that doesn't matter. The first volume, this Du côté de chanson, The Way by Sons, was blank feature. I haven't read the options, but if I read this, was featured on several occasions, was mentioned, was talked about, was, let's see. 5, was admitted, was failed, was praised. Was praised. This is number 5. Or was refused. The context is also important. So let's see, was praised or was refused? On several occasions, was finally, yes, very important context, was finally published. So it's refused. Was refused on several occasions, but was finally published at the author's blank in November 1930. Proust, this time planned only 2 further volumes. So let's see, number 6. At the author's in November. At the author's. Oh, cost expense fund money at the author's expense. 100% expense. Like this author paid to publish their work. Their work? I don't know if it's a he or a she. I don't remember. It's a him or so. Okay, so at his expense, it was published in November 1913. Proust, at this time planned only 2 further volumes. Okay, so we are in the middle of this, number 6. Let's go to number 7. During the war years, he revised the remainder of his novel, enriching and deepening its feeling, texture, and construction, enhancing the realistic and satirical elements, and tripling in its length. In blank, he transformed it into one of the most profound achievements of the human imagination. Oh, yes, it's a very well-known actor. Not actor, author. Okay, so in blank, let's see number 7. In doing them, in doing so, in that doing. Oh, I read it badly. In doing, 777. In doing, he transferred in doing that, in that doing, in so doing, in so doing, I would think, in so doing, I would say in doing so, in so doing, he transformed it onto one of the most profound achievements. That was a little bit tricky. In doing them, no, in that doing, from the 4, this is the one that sounds better, but in so doing, for me, it also doesn't sound so good. In doing so sounds better. Bear in mind that even though it's an English test, it's a Japanese English test, so there is a slight possibility that it might have mistakes. Even in sadly, very sadly, even in Japanese English textbooks, so the ones that Japanese schools that teach English, sadly, and this is said by English teachers in Japan, might have some mistakes. So I'm not saying that this is the case, but it sounds a little bit weird to me. In doing so. So, yeah, in so doing, he transformed it into one of the most profound achievements of the human imagination. But well, I'm writing it, and hopefully it will be okay when we check the answers. Yes. So let's continue to number 8. In June 1919, the second volume, Along with Du Jean Fleur, I'm sorry to my French friends, don't kill me. In the Shadows of Young Girls in Flower, appear blank. A reprint of Swan in December 1919. Along received, what is that pronunciation of received? The blank Prix Goncourt, which is an annual French literary prize. And Proust or Proust suddenly became world famous. 2 more installments appeared in his lifetime. So we have 2 blanks. Appear blank, a reprint of Swan. Appear blank. Appear as soon as the same time on, in combination, simultaneously with, I would say, simultaneously with. So let's say it one more time. Appear simultaneously with a reprint of Swan. Yes, 100%. In the just in case. Yes. Where was I? In December 1919, this received the number 9. The eminence, the famously, the prestigious, the renowned, could be renowned, but I think it's prestigious. Renowned prize, prestigious prize. Let's see. The renowned prize, the renowned Prix Goncourt, the prestigious Prix Goncourt. It's prestigious, so it would be C. C. And then this is in the middle of my pen and my notes. And then number 10, the last 3 parts of this were published blank in an advanced but not final stage of revision. The first authoritative edition of the entire work was published in 1954. Okay, blank. Let's see. Precedingly, prematurely, no, for a book. Posthumously could be, and postmortem, well, this wouldn't be appropriate unless we are talking about some kind of, yes, medical procedure, postmortem. So I would say posthumously. Posthumously, let's see the context again. Posthumously in an advanced but not final. The first one was published. There is no much context, but yes, I believe so. It's, yeah, I say C. Yes, posthumously. After his death. いいね、面白い. Okay, so that was exercise 4. And let's continue to 5. That was more than English comprehension, yes, but more like structure comprehension, like what type of words can be combined and connected, verbs together with adjectives or nouns, blah, blah, blah. And now to the more reading comprehension part that we're going to have a whole, yes, paragraph, like 3-4 paragraphs. And then we're going to have a series of questions. So read the following passage and select the best answer to each question listed below. Part 1 and part 2. Let's see. Remember, any question, any comment? Feel free. Don't cry, please don't cry. 頑張ってくださいね。できます。英語も。じゃあ、speaking, writing, and signing, not signing, yes, speaking, writing, and signing, not singing, are the 3 ways in which a language lives and breathes. I like this. They are the 3 mediums through which a language is passed on from one generation to the next. If a language is a healthy language, this is happening all the time. This is happening all the time. Okay, like passing on from one generation to the next. Parents pass their language on to their children, who pass it on to their children, and the language lives on. Okay. Languages like English, Spanish, and Chinese are healthy languages. They exist in spoken, written, and sign forms. I'm very interested, like sign, but well, doesn't matter. Yes, focus. And they are used by hundreds of millions of people all over the world. But most of the 6,000 or so of the world's languages aren't in such a healthy state. They are used by very few people. The children aren't learning them from their parents, and as a result, the languages are in real danger of dying out. When does a language die? Oh, it's so interesting. But I feel, and sorry to get out of context and out of this study, but I feel I have already read this. But 2021, I remember that the most recent test that I did was 2015. But well, this is the most recent now in the website study in Japan. A language dies when the last person who speaks it dies. Speaks it dies. And this is happening in many parts of the world. There are several dozen languages which have only one speaker left, and several more where the speakers are just a few dozens or fewer. For example, many of the languages spoken by the tribal peoples of Brazil or Indonesia have only a handful of speakers, but Indonesia is like 700 languages, it's too many. Languages which have only a few speakers and which are likely to die out soon are called endangered languages, like endangered species, endangered languages. Most of the world's endangered languages are spoken in countries on either side of the equator, okay. There are hundreds of languages spoken in South Asia, in such countries as Papua New Guinea. Hundreds more are spoken across India and Africa. Many more are in South America. Hundreds, really? They are the places where languages are dying out very quickly. It's true. What about Mapudungun? So, but we can find endangered languages everywhere. Most of the Aboriginal languages of Australia are endangered. Are you remembering all of this? So for me, my problem, and this is of course talking about my experience, my problem is that I have not such very good memory. So what I do, actually, not reading everything, I go first to the questions. So according to the article, healthy language, and just for this sake, I'm reading it completely, but the tip that I would give in this case is like read the questions first, and then you will go directly to the answers where they're placed, like, oh, okay, this is about this should be this. So just in case. But let's continue reading just for the sake of the class or the video. Are called in danger, Papua New Guinea, but we find in danger here. Australia are in danger. Most of Aboriginal languages of Australia are in danger, and so are the Celtic languages of Britain, Ireland, and France. Oh, zonene. Fewer and fewer people speak Gaelic, the Celtic language of Scotland, and the last native speakers of Manx, the language of the Isle of Man, died out a few decades ago. I don't know the Isle of Man. Perhaps half of the languages of the world are going to die out in the next 100 years. That's 3,000 languages disappearing in 1,200 months. Wow. If we work out the average, we'll find that there's a language dying out somewhere in the world every 2 weeks or so. This is much faster than anything that's happened in the past. There's nothing new about language dying. There's nothing new about language dying. Languages have always disappeared when the people who spoke them died out. 2,000 years ago, there were many languages spoken throughout the Middle East that no longer exist today. Think of all the peoples people, all the peoples who invented writing systems such as the los Hititas, the Assyrians, and the Babylonians. Those cultures came and went over thousands of years as one defeated another, yes, and the languages disappeared along with the peoples. Those cultures came and went over thousands of years as one defeated another, and the languages disappear along with, yeah, it's kind of weird English, but and the languages, so the languages disappear along with the people. Yes, we know something about these ancient languages because some of them were written down. Unfortunately, many languages of the past were never written down, so they're lost forever. That's still the case today. About 2,000 of the world's languages have never been written down. If they die before linguists get a chance to record them, they too will be gone forever. Wow, Taihan. When a culture dies out, it leaves behind evidence of how the people lived. Archaeologists can dig up all sorts of things, Instagram posts, no, pots, skeleton, boats, coins, weapons, bits of houses, but spoken language leaves nothing behind when it disappears. After all, speech is only vibrations in the air. So when a spoken language dies, which has never been recorded, a spoken language has never been recorded in some way, it is as if it has never been. Wow. There's nothing unusual about a single language dying, but what's going on today is extraordinary when we compare the situation to what has happened in the past. We are seeing languages dying out on a massive scale. It's a bit like what's happening to some species of plants and animals. Yes, that's exactly what I thought at the beginning. They're dying out faster than ever before. Why is this? Wow. So yes, very interesting. And this is why try to focus on the task, try to read the questions, sentences, and quickly answer everything. And don't be like me, like, oh, so interesting, and losing focus of the point of answering this in less than 1 hour, but it's not so long. So let's see. According to the article, a healthy language such as Spanish, Spanish, is usually passed on to the next generation. If the children learn it from school, no. Through either speaking, writing, or signing, could be, yes. When it has a signing form in addition to a spoken form, not necessarily. With the massive effort of a few people. So yes, no, 100% B. Through either speaking, writing, or signing, particularly from people to people, from mom, or I say mom, my mom, yes, from parents to their children, and so on. Oh, next generation. But not from the massive effort of a few people. That's very funny. So let's remember B. According to the article, most languages in the world are healthier now than they used to be. Not at all. Maybe social media could do something about this. Are in danger of disappearing forever, I would say so. Are spoken by a large number of people? Not necessarily, according to most languages. No, not at all. Large number of people, no. Have only a few natives? No. So remember, most languages are in danger of disappearing forever. Like the small languages that we can see in native languages, like in Indonesia, South America, Africa. They mentioned Africa, Australia, Britain, etc. Did I write it? B. Okay. The article argues that Australia is a place where languages are disappearing quickly. Maybe, yes, they mentioned something like that. Endangered languages are likely to be found all over the world. Also true, yes. Manx, the language of the Isle of Man, is in danger. It already disappeared, so we can say that is incorrect right away. The writing system invented by the Hittites, los Hititas, is still widely not at all. Okay, they mentioned it was one of the first languages that disappeared. So we have A and B, but looking at it generally, like, right, it's not specifically the article talking about Australia. It's more general, talking about the world. So B would be better than A. The article argues that endangered languages are likely to be found all over the world, not only, as they mentioned, in Indonesia, but here. Very interesting. So that was B. Again, B. Okay. So let's go to number 4. According to the article, blank. About 2,000 of the world's languages have already died out. Here is where my memory starts to fail. I think it was talking about the future, not already, but they're gonna die. Around half of the world's languages have not yet been written down. Yes, that sounds good also. Not ready been, and they could, in consequence, die. And at least one language is likely to disappear in the world. Yes, I remember this. At least one language is likely to disappear in the world every month. They were mentioning 1,000, so 3,000 in 1,200 month, 100 next year. Well, so this must every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks they mention, so even less time. So I would say C, but let's see the next one. None of the languages spoken 2,000 years ago are used today. Not true, not at all. So that was very recent, 2,000 years ago. But yes, I wouldn't say so. Yes, this is for the future. This is not correct. Around half of the world have not yet been, could be correct, but I think the point is at least one language is likely to disappear in the world every month. So I would say C. And let's go to number 5. We are halfway on part 5. So according to the article, the situation today is unusual in that archaeologists are digging up all sorts of ancient valuable things. Not the point. So they mentioned something like this, but it's not the point of the reading. Cultures as well as languages are dying out faster than ever before. Culture as well as languages could make sense, but it might lose the focus a little bit. Languages are disappearing together with some species of plants and animals. Also true, according to the situation today, is unusual. Okay, this is the key. Unusual. Together, this that it happens together, and cultures, not unusual, languages are dying out at an astonishing rate. Yes, I would say that. Because the key point is that it's unbelievable, it's unusual, it's whoa, what's happening? Not that this is happening, not that this is happening, it's like, sadly, this is expected, but this is astonishing rate that every month a language dies, every year this amount of languages die. Perfect. So that was our first part of part 5. Yes, we have enough time. Perfect. Did I write it? Okay. Oh, Pasteur again? No. Pasteur. Okay, it's another reading. Really? Let's see. Perfect. Oh, part 1 is one reading, and now we have another reading. So yes, be careful with your time management. Those are the typical tips. So read the questions first. Be careful with your time management. So for example, I was charging my clock, my watch, not clock, watch, bad English. So yes, be careful. So we have been doing this for about 20 minutes or so. Be conscious and try to finish everything on time, because they won't give you 1 minute more, not at all. So read the following passage and select the best answer to each question listed below it. Let's see. Different topic. Where does it start? Does it start there? Yes. Okay. So you're probably familiar with the work of Louis Pasteur. Yes, Louis Pasteur, the 19th century French chemist and biologist. What's happening with this exam, French people? He developed a process for, I like French people. He developed a process for killing microbes in milk and wine. And his ideas led to the understanding that tiny organisms cause certain diseases. He is considered the great helper of mankind, said Dr. Joseph Gall, professor at the University of Colorado. But before all that, Pasteur was an artist. Oh, and without his early creative explorations, he may not have made one of his biggest but least talked about discoveries in science. As a teenager, Pasteur created portraits, but after his father encouraged him to choose a more serious profession, one that would fit him, he became a scientist. At the age of 24, he would discover chirality. I don't know what's this. To understand chirality, consider two objects held up before a mirror. A white cue ball from a pool table and your hand. Pool table, what? Okay, I try to imagine. The reflection of the ball is exactly like the original. But with your hand, no matter how much you try, the mirror image would never fit into the original. Interesting. No es refracción. I need to research this. Chirality. Okay, some molecules are like cue balls, an exact image of each other, but others are like hands, the mirror opposite image of each other. Hands, like the crystals Pasteur would eventually discover, are chiral. Wow. And that discovery came down to an accident during winemaking. Chirality. I just have to know. Chale. Saludos a nuestros amigos de México. So es chotomate. I need to know what is chirality. Just curiosity. Chirality. Let me search for it. Chirality in Spanish. Not in Japanese, kirarity. Nani sore? Nani sore? Nihongo mo wakaran. Kiralidad. That doesn't answer my question. Propiedad se llama kiralidad. Disminuye la eficacia de los fármacos, ya que aunque las moléculas son químicamente iguales, no lo son biológicamente. Perfect. That doesn't answer my question. Thank you so much. So if anyone is a chemist, please let us know. No. Would never fit there. Some molecule. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Eventually discover winemaking. Okay. In 1819, factory workers boiled wine too long and accidentally produced an acid, which had unique properties that interested Pasteur. When studying this acid, Pasteur found that it produced two kinds of crystals, each the mirror opposite of the other. Each the mirror opposite. That's also weird English. The crystals were handed or chiral, derived from the Greek word K for hand, chemistry, change for rep. So why did this young chemist get it right? Okay, Dr. Gall thinks the answer might lie in Pasteur's passion for art. Even as a scientist, Pasteur remained closely connected to it. He taught classes on how chemistry could be used in art. He even carried around a notebook, taking notes about artwork he visited. And then Dr. Gall stumbled upon a letter Pasteur had written to his parents about a lithographic portrait he had made of a friend. Making a lithographic portrait involves carving a drawing into stone and pressing a piece of paper on top of it. The picture on the paper is a mirror image of the drawing left on the stone. In this letter, Pasteur wrote, "I think I have not produced anything as well drawn, but I greatly fear that on the paper, the portrait will not be as good as on the stone." On the paper, on the stone. Yes, this is what always happens. That's it. Isn't this explanation of how he saw the handedness on the crystals? Because he was used to that as an artist, Dr. Gall proposed. Many objects in our universe have this property of chirality, said Dr. Gall, in the mirror, in wine heated too long, on a piece of stone, and in your body, the opposite hands of the universe of the universe were discovered by a man who wanted to be an artist but settled for science. Okay. So, what is suggested about Louis Pasteur? Louis Pasteur. His theory calls diseases by tiny organisms. His life's work contributed a lot to the human race. I would say so. Yes. B. Very confident. His research focused entirely on the making of wine. No. His procedure boosts microbe numbers in milk. No. Work contributed a lot to the human race. Pasteurización, just in case, just in context, Louis Pasteur is the person that discovered and, yes, created la pasteurización. I don't know how to say that in English. So, why was Louis Pasteur encouraged to choose a more serious profession? Very simple. Working as a scientist could not have been easy. The serious professions were not respected in those days. A life as an artist would not have been financially stable. Yes. It was mentioned something like, yes, to be able to feed yourself. So encouraged to choose a more serious profession, a life as an artist would not have been financially stable. See this. Pasteur's father did not expect to be supported by his son. No, not at all. So let's continue to number 3. And remember, everyone, if you have any questions, I'm just like solving this exam, but feel free to ask any questions or make any comments if you need it. Okay. So number 3, where is it? Based on the article, which statement is true? Very typical. Okay, which one is true? Pasteur was a 9th century chemist and biologist. Yes. No, I don't know. Cue balls, like the crystals Pasteur discovered, are true. What are cue balls? What? No. Which statement is true for number 3? Milk contains no crystal types that mirror each other. No, that's true. And many objects display the property. Yes. Pasteur was 9th century. 18th century? Just to rule it out. Yes. 18th century. 18th century. I believe it's many objects display the property of chillarity. Yeah, that word. Based on the article, which statement now, which is false? So we have 3 that are true, 1 that is false. Did I write? Yes. It was D. Okay. Based on the article, which statement is false? A chiral object mirror image will not fit exactly into the original. Remembering this? Yes, it's true. Pasteur thinks portraits on stone are worse than those on paper. Pasteur thinks portraits on... No, the paper is never going to be the same as the stone. So B is incorrect. Let's see the rest. If we agree, boiling wine for far too long leads to the production of an acid. Yes. And it is possible that art made Pasteur familiar with handedness. True. So yes, B is false. Oh, he thinks the opposite. And what is meant by stating that Louis Pasteur settled for science? He settled for science. So a career as a scientist was not Pasteur's first choice. Yes, that's true. Okay, this is not true or false. It's just looking for the right one. I believe it's this one, but let's go to the others. I'm just gonna write A. So Pasteur's father was influential only to a certain degree. No, not really, or it was not mentioned. The authors feels Pasteur was better off. No, that was not mentioned in any way. And It was a challenge for Pasteur to accept art over science. No, definitely A. Yes. And that was our English test that I believe we finished today in around 30 minutes. And last time also around 30 minutes, adding up everything that I mentioned, everything that I talked about. So this is one example of an English test for the Monbukagakusho test, so for the MEXT scholarship to come and study here in Japan. Very important to have at least more than 80% of this exam correct. So let's see the answers here. We saw them before for 1 through 3. Let's see it for 4 and 5. I have my notes. So D, C, B, C, D. D, C, B, C, D. Perfect. B, C, D, C, C. B, C, D, C, C. Very good. So we can make sure that our part 4 was correct. So for part 5, B, 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 C, D. B, 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 C, D. Very good. And then B, C, D, B, A. B, C, D, B, A. Yeah, good. So that is the idea. Try to do this throughout all this week. I know, well, today here is Tuesday, is Monday in Latin America. Still, yeah. Well, kind of, it's 3 in the morning. But for those of you that are in Venezuela and Peru and have the exam this week, try to practice every day, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Maybe you can take Friday off. It depends 100% on you, but that is what I did. And for those of you that have the exam like later on, maybe the 15th of June, even for Spain, they have it in July. So try to practice a little bit, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. Every day is better, but that's just my recommendation. If you have the time and you want to have great results in this exam, these are my recommendations, and this is what I wanted to do throughout these 2 videos. What other thing did I want to mention? I still have a couple of minutes, yes, before my class. Well, yes. So remember, you cannot have anything on top of your desk, just your pen, eraser, I don't have an eraser, and maybe your watch, okay? 60 minutes, so pay attention to the time. Try to answer it as quickly as possible, but like focusing and not rushing. Doesn't matter. It's not that long. You will have enough time. Oh, try to be better than the rest. Of course, there are going to be a lot of people, and a lot of people wanting to win this scholarship. It's a great scholarship. So for English, you need to be able to have a good enough score to be able to continue to the entrevistas. So what is the word for entrevistas? I forget it. Mensetsu, Nihongo de interviews. What happened for the interviews? So I'm going to change again to Spanish. Ya voy a terminar de hablar inglés porque mi inglés empieza a fallar. Pero así son los exámenes. Traten de practicar lo más posible, que les vaya excelente. Y durante los próximos en vivos, como habrán notado, no... it's not streaming live on YouTube. Okay. No estamos haciendo todavía nuestras clases porque me estoy enfocando 100% en los exámenes. Ahora vienen los exámenes de japonés. Ya hicimos 2 videos sobre los exámenes de inglés. No sé qué tan frecuente voy a hablar en inglés nuevamente en el canal, pero volvemos al español y ahora vamos a los exámenes de japonés. No ahora, por supuesto, en el próximo en vivo. Como acá es martes, queda miércoles, jueves y viernes para que pueda ser útil para todos ustedes. Idealmente voy a tratar de hacerlo durante estos 3 días. Miércoles o jueves o viernes, o quizás miércoles y jueves y viernes, no lo sé. En medida de lo posible. Así que mucho éxito nuevamente, que les vaya súper bien en los exámenes de inglés y pendientes mañana, pasado mañana, que le pasó a mi pelo. sobre los exámenes de japonés para que puedan ver cómo son también y puedan practicar. Ya, Nevi.